Nice.
And I love you dearly, yes, indeed. Even though they got me working on Mother's Day, I had to send a shout out.
Yeah, but they didn't do that.
They didn't. Yeah, but
no, they didn't do that.
They didn't do that.
Yeah.
But I'm not home because I'm here with you.
I get it.
Yeah,
I'm not either.
Yeah,
because I'm here with you.
This too is true.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, mine included. It is Playoff Central Live. He's Brendan Haywood. As mentioned, I'm Matt Weiner. 2 Game 4s today in Indianapolis and Denver, where both lower-seeded teams had the edge through 3 games. In the day, tips in Denver for Game 4 between the Thunder and Nuggets, with Denver up 2-1 after an overtime win on Friday night.
Nikola's off night. 2016-6. Just an awful NBA night. And I'm sure he's frustrated. When you're that efficient, maybe arguably one of the most efficient players to ever play any sport, I get it. I get why he's frustrated. But Game 4 is going to come, and he's going to touch it a million times. Hope he shoots it all the time.
They're aggressive, they're physical, they're handsy, they're in the string, they're playing passing lanes, I don't know what they're doing because if I know, probably I'm not going to do having those kind of mistakes. So I need to figure out what they're doing. So, basically I was the worst player on the court to be on the game, and that's the most important.
One thing that it takes to be a great team is you get taken to the limit in the playoffs, and you've got to rise to the challenges that you're confronted with. We have to embrace what this is. It's the playoffs. It's the highest level of basketball. It's incredibly challenging. And this is how you become stronger as a team, is you learn from these experiences, you stand up to them, and you improve. And that's our challenge right now.
As a team, we know it's not easy. Not everything's all sunshine and rainbows. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs through it, and it's about how you win these days in between. And I think that's what makes a really good team.
Well, one item on the OKC to-do list for Game 4, score. Score more efficiently. They shot under 39% and scored 45 fewer points than in Game 2. Obviously, Brendan, they're not going to score 149 in every game in this series, but sub 39% shooting and the execution down the stretch were real problems, and the inefficiency of their best player was a problem.
And a lot of that had to do with, when you talk about the inefficiency of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in that offense, it had to do with what Denver was doing defensively. They were showing SGA a lot of different coverages. They were showing double teams, triple teams, and then sometimes they were even doing what we like to call a help shell coverage. So right here, we understand SGA wants to get to the mid-range. He's going to come off the screen. They're going to double, but now it's really a triple because Aaron Gordon is helping off the strong side corner. Nowhere for SGA to go. Now look at Christian Brown get over there, cut off the mid-range. He's going to help off Dort, forces a tough shot. Now we're going to see it again. SGA comes off the pick and roll. He's looking for 3 defenders. They're going to force him to make that pass to the other J-Dub. He misses inside, and they're off and running. Now we're going to see missed free throw. SGA's like, okay, I'm about to get into my ISO situation. I got Michael Porter Jr. on me. I like the matchup. Nope. Christian Brown's not going anywhere. We're double teaming. We're getting the ball out of your hands. We're forcing you to throw the ball to your teammates. We will live and die with the results of those guys taking shots as opposed to you. SGA did not get a shot attempt in overtime. He did not get a shot attempt in overtime of Game 3. He was 1 of 8 in the fourth quarter. The defense really worked. They wanted to limit his mid-range opportunities, and they did that.
And that's some really focused defense from a Denver team that has been inconsistent on that end of the floor. This was obviously part of the game plan going in. We're going to take away their best player to the extent we can.
And if you're the Denver Nuggets, you have to be ecstatic that what happened on the defensive end, because that's not Denver's calling card. Denver's one of the better offensive teams we have in this league, but they've been quite poor defensively throughout the course of the regular season and even at times in these playoffs. So the fact that they were so dialed in, they were able to slow down OKC as a whole and SGA in Game 3, and that coming on the heels of that embarrassing performance that they had in Game 2 really says a lot about their character. You got to give their coaching staff a lot of credit for the adjustments that were made. And now it's going to be up to OKC to counterpunch this. And, okay, we're seeing they're loading up, they're trapping. How are we going to cut guys off the top? I saw there was one play where Dort was a little bit too close to SGA. I need you to fade a little bit, cut off the top. They're going to have to get better at playing against this defense, because I can guarantee you they're going to see it again this afternoon.
So that is the mission for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander today. If he thinks this is coming again, what's the adjustment for him? Get off the ball quickly, maybe get it back? Well, what's next?
it can't just be him. It has to be a game plan thing. So sometimes you want to go and if you think they're going to trap you when you go into a pick and roll, you want to do dribble handoffs. It's harder to trap dribble handoffs because a guy like J-Dub that's mobile and Chet, guys that are mobile, they can keep the give and get right to the basket. So maybe you want to do a little bit more dribble handoffs. Maybe you want him to come off of more pin downs and get the ball in the mid-range in that action. Also, you also want to tell your guys where to be. When SJ's at the top of the key and everybody has all eyes on him, don't stop moving. You want to cut to certain areas. We saw Christian Braun load up to the elbow. If you're on the wing and Christian Braun loads up, you need to flare a little bit more, give him a better passing angle. Or sometimes you need to just cut off the top just in general and make that defense move. You want to make the defense move, and then you can find a way to take advantage on the weak side.
And SGA was not the only MVP candidate who had an inefficient night. The Nuggets won despite an 8 of 25 shooting night from Nikola Jokic, more turnovers than assists. I mean, not to say they got away with one, but typically he has that kind of a night. The Nuggets are not going to win a playoff game. What can be learned from the way that OKC dealt with him?
Well, OKC did an incredible job. When you talk about Jokic only hitting 8 shots and the misses that were there, not hitting any threes, more importantly, the 8 turnovers, he's normally as steady as they come with the rock. They had active hands. That's something that OKC bases their defense on. They did a good job of fronting him, making him uncomfortable. Sometimes they would double him off the baseline. Sometimes they would come from the top of the key. They would get underneath him. They would get physical. Sometimes there'd be 2 guys guarding him before he even got the ball. A player like Jokic, you have to throw the whole kitchen sink at him, see what's working, and give him different looks. If you give him a steady diet of anything, he'll figure out a way to make an adjustment. But if you say, hey, in the first quarter, we're going to double him. Second quarter, we're going to double him, but we're going to come from the baseline. You want him thinking the whole time, not getting comfortable. And Jokic did not look comfortable at all in Game 3. And Denver was still able to win.
And in the meantime, Jamal Murray, who's a playoff performer, pretty spectacular. I thought this was a series where OKC has so many good perimeter defenders they could almost take him away, and yet he comes up with 27 in the win for Denver. 2 games coming up today. In the meantime, it is Mother's Day. As we go to break, some pics of our crew and their moms. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there.
Chào tất cả các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ làm một chiếc video là tô màu những sản phẩm, hoa quả, con vật, đồ vật, vân vân. Nếu các bạn chưa biết sản phẩm gì đúng không thì hãy xem hết video và để lại một cái like và một lượt subscribe để mình có thể tiếp tục động lực ra video nhé. Và bây giờ các bạn hãy xem hết video để biết đó là sản phẩm gì nhé. Bây giờ các bạn cùng mình đi tô màu nào.
Thôi đâu tải cái này đi. 39 video cũng được.
39 video được không cho anh Kiên này?
39 video sợ hơi ít đấy. Thì tầm 50.
Quay vào phát trên 9 đi xem cũng nhé.
Tầm 50 hay là 50 trở xuống.
Thế dọn kèm đi thôi chị. Nhưng mà mấy không quay.
Chắc là dọn dẹp kiểu gì phải quay được 1 đến 2.
39 này thêm 10 cái 2 mấy 10 mấy đấy nhá.
Đây không có một cái mình mấy hàng đấy này.
Mà luôn đi.
Vừa bật rồi. Tôi thật lâu đi vào video tô màu nha.
Dạo đến đất Facebook tất đất nước rồi.
Gì? Cái lễ này.
Chưa năm nào lễ to nhất năm.
Có trước đâu nhỉ?
Trong miền Nam việc diễu binh duyệt binh đây.
Năm ngoái là diễu binh nhỉ? Năm nay là duyệt binh rồi. Thế này mà quả thế này mà có một dàn xe tăng.
Đúng rồi, năm nay làm to hơn mà.
Phải có một dàn xe tăng đi.
Xe tăng với lại bắn
máy bay cái kiểu thứ
máy bay
pháo lại bác cái đấy.
Đang bay mất tích luôn chảy ở nào. Không biết là nó bay vào trong mây thế nào.
Hay là nó bay
nhanh. Chắc là bay vào trong mây thôi nhưng mà mất tích luôn.
Một là nó bay nhanh quá, hai là
cái máy bay thì bắn nó khói rồi.
Không phải máy bắn nó khói đâu, nó kiểu như là sương mù đấy.